This interview is brought to you by Maximus.
Greetings from San Diego. I'm Henry Kenyon with GovCIO Media and Research, and I'm speaking today with Shery Thomas, Enterprise IT Officer at the Navy Installations Command. And Shery, nice to have you here. To get things started, you spoke about the shift, the shift from traditional risk management framework, from the traditional risk management framework to the cybersecurity risk management construct. So moving into 2027, how does CNIC move the mindset, leadership's mindset, from a 3-year paper approval to a continuous observable readiness stance for cybersecurity?
So what was happening in terms of these systems was the stagnant process of, I do a 3-year approval, and then I'll go look back on it 3 years or so later for all of the systems, all of the networks. The adversary has changed. The threat scenario has changed. We have to do continuous monitoring, continuous awareness of the environment. Multiple things that are going on is based on what's happening from the cybersecurity lens, from the cyber planning response cell, and from the C2 Security Operations Center. We're finding the threats are evolving and the ways that are attacking these systems are evolving. So we need to figure out from a cybersecurity risk management framework. One of the things is DevSecOps. The other one is continuous monitoring and artificial intelligence. So trying to figure out with all of this, right, what is the level of manned versus unmanned teaming? What is the level of input that needs to be provided to these systems to get them back up to par? And then, as you can imagine, right, when those 3-year ATOs are approval, they were provided based on a stagnant time. Things change. What is that variance, and how much do you tolerate discrepancies in the system? And if it's above tolerance, is it an artificial intelligence system that makes a decision? It is, or do they refer it to a human? And how much authority does each one have? So we'll get into more of that as we go along and learn more about this.
What kind of hurdles have you potentially encountered as far as just cultural issues regarding, moving to more or less making cybersecurity a live operational capability? As you mentioned, there are a lot of moving parts here. So,
absolutely, culture, people are the big thing, because what has happened previously is what everybody's used to. The change is difficult, and especially in this environment, because this is operational technology systems, Internet of Things systems, so port operations, air operations, facility management. People don't understand fuel, gas, electricity, power lines, water, wastewater. They're all tied to some kind of computer technology that's enabling these operations, whether it be at the tactical edge from the user standpoint, the data, the network behind it, and then the ability to do some kind of security incident event management or security orchestration and response. So now what I just did there was tie in all 7 pillars of Zero Trust. All of that is not just for the information technology, the IT side of it. It is expanding into the OT and the IoT as well. So the understanding from the people that were doing that, because most of those are not technologists, they were repairing some kind of system that was failing from either mechanical problems or some kind of other. Now you're infusing technologists into that and saying, oh, those lights are on because we're enabling some kind of thing to happen or not happen and to prevent cybersecurity problems.
Speaking of cybersecurity and Zero Trust, there's a whole supply chain issue, and I'm wondering, what has the Navy and your command been doing regarding just with working with industry to make sure that all the hardware and software that you guys are acquiring meets your requirements before it gets out of the box?
Yes. So bill of materials, software bill of materials, SBOM. We're verifying and we're checking in terms of how much either the primes, the second and third order suppliers are aware, and also tracking to what's going on in their code base. If there's any anomalies, if there's any changes. We're the end product customer, but then we also have to deliver it to the sailor, right? Or to an individual that is actually going to be using these systems. And at that point, it's not, they don't want to be worrying about either cybersecurity or some kind of software or hardware anomaly. It just needs to work.
Yeah.
And so now it's up to us to go to those vendors and say, what are you doing with it? Are you keeping to a level? It's similar to, for example, to operate on a roadway. You need to have minimum standards for either pollution or the tires that are on your car. So the same kind of analogy needs to exist for any vendor that is providing a government with some kind of a technology solution. So simple things are elevators, for example, or fire alarms. Just need to make sure it has end-to-end connectivity and it is able to do its mission, because if we don't get that dispatch for fire and emergency, now you have second and third order implications.
No, very interesting, very interesting. And to move to the other realm of implications, at a very high level, you were mentioning, what are you in the office doing to leverage AI, especially to create more or less, the Navy had been talking about sort of autonomous cybersecurity defense, especially situations that can automatically sort of lower the temperature of a cyber attack before even a human needs to intervene.
So I put this into two different realms. AI for cybersecurity is supposed to enhance the user, the individual that is doing a network operations or security operations function. So with that, we need to understand, what is that AI doing? What is the AI capable? What is the human allowing the AI to do? And then what kind of actions is it doing? And it's retraining on itself to say, yes, I did a good job, or I need to correct some things. So those are human inputs that need to be provided into that process. And then hopefully, once it gets better and better, then it can make more decisions, but at the same time, the human needs to provide some kind of checks and balances to it, as I mentioned before. With adversaries doing action 24/7, there's not an ability for a human, whether it be some kind of private industry or government individuals, to consistently monitor everything that's going on. There's too much. So you need AI, but at the same time, we don't have to be fully reliant on AI either.
Where does the human in the loop fit in?
Correct. And then the second part is cybersecurity for AI. The first one was AI for cybersecurity. The second one is cybersecurity for AI, which is I need to keep checking these systems and they're not doing weird stuff. Because at the same time, they're narrow artificial intelligence systems that do specific things. If somebody throws something from left field to it, it probably doesn't know how to react, or it's going to give some kind of a wrong input other than what a human would have done. So we need to check that too. And the underlying large language models and the algorithms that are behind all of this, just want to make sure there's no additional code, additional changes that existed, or nobody took the AI for granted, for example, and did any anomalous behavior on that, because now you have second order implications for that too, where it was supposed to do something for either some kind of an operational system. We thought it was going to do that, but the result came to be something different. So now people lose confidence in the AI.
Yeah. And speaking of people, this is going forward, 2027 and beyond, but once some of these both security and network plans have been put in place, for the average sailor and just civilian working at Navy facilities, what's their day going to be like, especially from a security perspective, where it's going to be more important to the network they're on as opposed to whatever their ID or their clearances are?
It's going to be trial and error. Similar to what I said about artificial intelligence, the human intelligence, the human awareness, I would say cyber hygiene. What tier are you working with on this footprint? Are you one of those individuals that is touching one or multiple systems? What is the implications in a system of system scenario? And then how does it inhibit or not allow operations to continue? Because at the same time, the human, the artificial intelligence, now you have multiple different things at play. Is operations still continuing? Do you have a continuity of operations plan? and are you able to leverage that? So same thing like when we have fire drills or hurricane response things. What happens for a cyber incident or a problem with any of this? Who has access? How much access do you have? And then are you all trusted? So goes back to zero trust. Always verify. Don't assume trust. But then every single time I'd be logging into the same system. But the system needs to figure, okay, let me go check some kind of multi-factor authentication or some other means. Is this the same individual providing the same token to get into the same systems on whichever classification we're talking about?
What's the groundwork being laid to get the next generation up and running?
Sure. And I don't say the next generation there. I say the entirety of everybody in the workforce that's touching these systems. So there, I say cyber hygiene, cyber awareness for everybody, because everybody is touching either a personal device or some kind of an IT/OT system. Simple things like light switches. We have to know these are all systems that somebody is providing user input to the device, and it's going through a network, and it's hitting your data is going somewhere, either a biometric print or some kind of thing that you're entering into it. And then what kind of things can happen beyond it. So everybody has to be kept up to speed on whether it be artificial intelligence or post-quantum cryptography or these multiple different areas. For example, multi-level authentication, the cloud, they're persistent today. What's going to happen with that in the future? So people just need to have general awareness of wired communications, wireless communications, the changes that are happening, and not just say this is back from before when it was just a physical world. Now you have another cyberspace environment with a space environment and multiple different areas of transport, data, and cybersecurity has to be tied in from the lowest echelon all the way up to a system of systems to a large enterprise at 30,000 foot level.
Everything is communicating with everything else.
That's right.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Federal agency missions are complex, and innovation can't wait. Maximus is solving problems and streamlining operations while delivering results at speed and scale, providing precision and consistency, uniting strategy, advanced technology, process, and execution for a more efficient government. Every program, every service, every time. That's Maximus. That's innovation forward. Learn more at maximus.com.